What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 5 of my Total War Warhammer 3, not modded, every time. Skulltaker Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, it looks like the Awakened are very much on the back foot and are likely to be destroyed. Now this very episode, the Yuan Bo has been caught and destroyed by two of our blood hosts, and we found out that his defeat rate is rather lackluster, at the very least for Khorne, so we don't really necessarily care about having Skulltaker take his skull personally. Depending on whether we want to actually teleport up here, which is a possibility, admittedly, but at the same time, I mean, if we are to push up towards Mazdamundi, I think also has a defeat trait that has to do with magic, which, again, not super useful for us in particular. But anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time, well, wipe these guys out, probably undo the vassalage agreement with the clan Spittle, since there's no longer a point to keep them around, and keep on destroying the Jade Court, although they're in pretty bad shape already. It does seem that they have at least one army running around, and it is probably this one right here. I don't know whether these two blood hosts, heavily damaged as they are, can handle it, but well, it depends on what's in there, and we'll still certainly give it a try. Alright, before we end the turn, I do believe, okay, the buildings are good, but it's time to start recruiting some new forces. We are going to say go to Tlax. Ooh, actually, there's two things to do. Chaos Lord. Oh, I don't like you guys. Huh. Strong, it's a little better. Iron Skin. Okay, here's what we'll do. Ah, man. Do we do two? Blood Beasts spawn. We could start on the Khorne Gores and the Forsaken as well. There's potential for that. I did want some more Blood Shrines. Yeah, alright. Let's start with you, Iron Skin Blood Speaker. Frankly, as a generalist lord, Blood Speakers are going to be vastly superior to all the other Lord types, simply because they have a lot of really good stuff in here. 25% Vigor reduction, then they've got Strider, Speed, and Armor-piercing damage for the entire army. It's just solid army buffs all around. Plus, they come with the War Shrine as well. Now, the issue with them is that they do need somebody to fight their melee battles for them, as on the War Shrine, they're not going to be particularly powerful. So, the first one will have this guy in Earthly Reflexes. Tamar, you'll be our first Exalted Hero. We'll start training everybody up, and we'll send you to Half-Deer Nightbane. I might actually have Half-Deer Nightbane lead our all-ranged army, simply because, I mean, he has that missile strength +5, so who else is going to benefit from, or who else is going to get that defeat trait, right? And I guess all these buffs will work for range units. They won't increase their damage, but I mean, none of the other lords will also do much for that. Anyway, start on recruiting a couple of blood shrines here, and then we'll transfer them, at least for a time, to this particular army. I think we also might have another... Yeah, we do have another Blood Reaper available. And I guess we'll take the Weapon Master one, like so. And we can start leveling it up. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to make use of it. Then, we could summon a Herald of Khorne and use it as a recruiter until we get a better Chaos Lord for, well, one of our Chaos Lords. Or actually, I think we'll probably have two of the regular Chaos Lords of Khorne. We'll take the Disciplined one, I think. The casualties and income from post-battle loot as well, though. And to be fair, it's not like we really need the extra melee attack as a Khornate faction. You know what, let's go Murderer. Alright, and then you, my friend, okay, -1.1k, not horrible. You can start on recruiting some melee troops. We do want a classic sort of Khornate army as well, which will be the various Chaos Warriors and Chaos Knights. Maybe a few Chosen interspersed. Actually, depending on whether Chosen get the buff from the regular Chaos Lords of Khorne. So you have 2 Chaos Warriors of Khorne with halberds and two with shields, eh? Alright. Let's do 2 halberds and, well, let's start with the shields because they're less expensive. 2 halberds and 2 shields, and then we'll see about the rest. Alrighty, recruitment for new armies begun, though I don't know whether we'll complete them. Next up, Skulltaker. You still have movement remaining. This is gonna be a risk. What we could try to do, since we can't reach these guys and we can't move faster or reach anything, what we can attempt to do is go right here, and set up an ambush. It'll force us to suffer attrition, but Luther might attempt to close in with the Awakening or with Poxmarsh, in which case we might be able to defeat him that way. Well, that's the dream. Let's see if we can make it happen. We could also activate one of these things. Oh, we do have it. Well, then again, our skull rate right now is a little bit lower than I'd like. Alright, let's just end the turn and proceed. Alright, also while the turn is ending, this is the 5th episode, and when we reach the 5th episode, we lower the engagement threshold for those hour-long episodes, so from now on, 300 likes and 50 comments, I think, was the threshold, and the next episode will be an hour-ish long as well. Once again, as many of you know, I'm kind of bad at maintaining a particular time. Drawn to Destruction Shodel. Oh, I had thought that the rats colonized that ages ago, but apparently they just ignored it. Alright, well, good for them, I guess, or not so good for them. Let's go for the Soul Keep here. Chainsword. Oh, that's the short victory. Yeah, that was unexpected. Damn, 24 turns. Definitely one of the shortest short victories of all factions, I think. I mean, there's several factions that can really, really quickly gain their short victory. And then other factions take like 100 turns to get theirs, which is kind of interesting in comparison. Chainsword gives us Unbreakable, a just ridiculous buff in terms of weapon damage and such. Is there any negatives to it? It does enable magical attacks, which is kind of interesting, because we already have magical attacks on the Skulltaker. It's probably better to use his Slayer sword once we grab it, and then give the Chainsword to another lord. But for now, take the Chainsword, buddy, and go execute some jerks. And what do we have in terms of items now? Anything useful? Spotter's Spyglass is still useless, but anyway. You can keep the Bloody Shackle. We should put the Talisman of Endurance on another lord. Armors of Silvered Steel, those should, I was about to say go on the Blood Reapers, but no, they're fine. Alright, we're gonna have to wait until the new lords and new heroes are up. Well, I guess we could, we could take you, since you're going to be the fighter for Halfdeer, at least for now, and give you some items. Take the, I'm gonna say, Sword of Strife. The Fencer's Blades with that melee defense is probably something that we want to give to a more fragile Bloodletter or Blood Reaper hero. And the Talisman of Endurance is going to go to a Lord. I do think that we could probably pop the Crown of Command. Oh no, you have the other the Trickster Shard. I actually don't know whether the the Murderous Exhortations count as a spell or not. It's direct damage, so it might not. But anyway, let's see what we got. So Skulltaker, you're going to try your thing. And, oh, turn has ended. Oh, they didn't go for the Awakening, they went for Poxmarsh. But by the looks of it, we can reach them anyway. I guess the question is, do we want to go for a Luther while he's outside of the settlement? It depends.
I thought I was the crazy one.
There's a lot more stuff in Poxmarsh, so that coming in as a reinforcement could be bad for them, but at the same time... I guess we should draw them out so that these guys, the bigger portion of the army comes in as a reinforcement. Nah. Alright, also I was intending to do the thing with these guys, but I guess we can wait the turn or two. Let's go for Luther, shall we? Oh, yeah, we'll do. What level are you? 10. Alright, let's steal his levels, shall we? Go to the Skull Throw. No, go to the whatever this is. Cloak of Skulls, and we'll grab this upgrade. And I know, we just gotta make sure that we hit 200 by the time we have the teleportation cooldown up and running. Cloak of Skulls, we'll do the 50% steel, but we'll ignore the level 3 for now, because the 100's a little bit steep. Alright, Skulltaker, you may be damaged, but I think not so damaged that you can't fight this. I could pop the Khorne's Bloody Fist in here, but I think we'll save that for another lord. We don't need bloodthirsters in the Skulltaker's army. Alright, Pyrrhic Victory, it's a lot of enemies, and particularly it's a lot of enemies that are range. Let's see if, well, let's see how much that matters. Go.
Skulls and blood! Blood and skulls! Skulls!
Alrighty, sounds like somebody is ready to get some skulls. And whether we do so without taking massive losses, of course, remains to be seen. We are damaged at about 60% of our HP in terms of our army, and the enemy has around 4,000 undead or zombies total. Luther Harkin himself shouldn't be a major issue. He doesn't have his Terrorgeist mount, and Skulltaker now does have his chainsword, so he should be quite a bit stronger. We're going to start the battle off with destroying those darn bloated corpses, irritating as they are, while we bombard the enemy artillery piece, the enemy mortars, with our Hell-Forged Bellowers. Now, the chain sword is a very strong item, but I think it's not particularly good for Skulltaker, as it depends on kills made specifically by the unit, with the maximum amount of damage coming up at 500. That's unlikely to happen for Skulltaker, who rides around the battlefield taking the skulls of the enemy champion, rather than going after specific enemy units. So, yeah. Anyway, Skulltaker is going after Luther, or at least trying to, but we're going to move on in to help him out. Our cavalry will charge the blood crushers, together with fire support from the skull cannon, and of course the 4 units of flesh hounds. 4 flesh hounds into 1 unit of zombie-powered gunnery mob, but they've barely taken any damage so far, and I imagine this is probably due to the nature of the bug. Or at least they should be doing this a lot faster. Or maybe they're getting in each other's way, I don't know. Either way, the Blood Crushers are having a pretty good time. The enemy's blobbed up and they are losing many a unit. Here comes one of those Blood Thrones, and Scylla and Fingrim is going to move right into the center of the enemy formation. The reason, of course, to pop his explosion ability, causing massive amounts of damage to that pile of infantry, as well as forcing everybody, including Luther Harkin, into Rampage, where he cannot actually escape. Skulltaker. Once again, the biggest problem with Skulltaker fighting enemy Footlords is that Footlords have a tendency to get knocked around by his charges, so kind of hard to deal with. Anyway, Luther Harkin's in the middle of the fray, and his entire army at this point has been destroyed, and just a matter of bringing the man himself down. Frankly, we don't need all these units surrounding him, and I can't even really see him in there. Once again, problem with Footlords. But all good, I'm sure he'll be dead shortly. Well, deader shortly. There he is, down to 10% HP and probably executed in that pile of Khorne troops. I'm just going to assume that he died under there. Yes, indeed, he did. Alrighty. In the meantime, the enemy's reinforcements have arrived. That was the small army, after all. The full stack belonged to the reinforcing army, plus the garrison as well. Enemy's incoming reinforcements are also annoyed at our skull cannon and decide to send some deck droppers to attack it. But fortunately, the units of blood beasts are going to be able to take out those fellbats reasonably quick, with a little bit of help from those Hell-Forged Bellowers. Skulltaker will once again move forward, together with Skyla and Fingrim, and look to take care of those bloated corpses. And, well, this is interesting. Those bloated corpses should be dead. That's another desync. Not a big one. This didn't actually happen. This actually works in our favor in this replay. This, however, does not. This never happened. That's weird. Decent little bit of damage to one of our units, but it's not going to cause it to melt away. And loss-wise, it's only 15 units destroyed, so not a big deal. I wonder what it is about Skulltaker that's causing these desyncs. Somebody suggested it might be the Executioner or Executor trait that is supposed to execute stuff but doesn't properly work in the replay. It's certainly a possibility. Anyway, while the second army has arrived, it immediately gets, if not quite surrounded. Its main line is very much on the verge of collapse already. The piles of flesh hounds have hit the enemy in the back as well, and while they may not be doing a crazy amount of damage, they are preventing all of the enemy range units from firing. And the biggest threat from the enemy range units would be the targeting of our bigger units like Skyla and the Blood Thrones / Blood Shrines, which are now safe. Over in the background, our units of blood beasts and a unit of fleshhounds have peeled away and destroyed the enemy artillery piece, and by the looks of it, the last of the zombies will melt away, and the battle will be ours. Lovely. Really fun fight. I think it was the right decision to declare war upon rather than ally with the undead, because they always give you some great fights. Alright, there we go. The fight itself worked out fairly well in our favor, though that bug with the splash damage really does seem to be hurting us, doesn't it? I noticed that the fleshhounds in particular got barely any damage, and they usually get massive amounts of damage on them. And on top of that, I mean, I assume they're one of the ones affected, because we sent all 4 of them to try to kill one unit of zombie-powered gunnery mob with handguns, and they took like 2 minutes to do it, all 4 of them together, which seems unusual, does it not? On the other hand, we got plenty of decent damage on the bloodletter, so maybe the hounds are just getting in each other's way. And the blood crushers did just fine, smashing into the enemy lines and racking up massive kill counts as well, so who knows? Who knows? As long as we win. Our first tribute, devour captives, gonna have to take the skulls again. I mean, the undead should have plenty of spare skulls to spare. They can't spare a skull, but they can. 15% spell resistance, leadership when fighting at sea, kind of like Alberic's defeat rate. Kind of meh, but at least a spell resistance. If we fight Kairos and him spamming blue fire at Skulltaker, he should be reasonably okay with 65 now. Spell resistance, I mean. Anyway, we should... What do we want to do with this? Do we want to raise it? Well, we don't need to occupy it because we already have the this thing. What does pottery do for us again? It's just money and defensive supplies, huh? Plus the port. Huh, wouldn't be able to build a defensive structure here, although, you know, I haven't been really building them anyway. I guess raise it. Well, okay, let's see how much money it's worth. Auto-resolve this. And we can either get basically no money versus solid numbers of skulls. I'm gonna say skulls for the Skull Throne. A little bit tempted to get another Blood Host up and running, but I think at least here we should probably be fine. So skulls for the Skull Throne. And you can still move, not close enough to reach Tlax though, and unfortunately it looks like the Raging Beasts cannot reach it either. At least not this turn. Oh, maybe I should have raised another Blood Host. Well, I don't know whether you guys can handle this, especially damaged as you're about to be, but, well, give it a shot. Go here. And then raid. At least a little bit of cash from you. Skulltaker, we're going to take the risk and ignore this and then move southward. I wonder if it's worth it to grab that mysterious island. It'll take up a lot of our movement range. Will we heal in the water? Last time we did, but I'm not sure he will this time. Let's find out. It's not going to be as much as healing on land, that's the thing. Oh, what we could do. The Bone Legion. Would you be able to kill these guys? I think you would. Alright, you are going to go here, Skulltaker. I'm going to hope that you heal in the water. Let's see if we can't reach the blood swamps. And yeah, you do heal. Not as much as I'd like, but enough. Alright, go right there. Then we are going to take off the vassal status. And they're not going to be too happy about it, and we can no longer see them, but that's not a huge deal for us. And then hopefully next turn, we can hit them with both Skulltaker and with the Bone Legion, while the Raging Beast hit Tlax. And that'll wipe these rats out. Now, where are you going? You are currently at war with the Citadel of Dusk, so why are you in our territory, buddy? Well, I guess they could attack us theoretically, but hopefully we'll be fine. Ooh, Skulltaker, what level? Oh, right, we stole the XP from Harkin. We got 4 levels. Damn, he levels up fast. Level 36. He's got more levels than turns. Let's get a mentor. And, oh, right, I think in SFO this is automatic now, so it doesn't It doesn't take points, but anyway. And we'll go Foe Seeker, and then I believe we wanted to go either Cleave for even more damage or Murder for that little bit of extra HP. Well, we'll start with Cleave, we'll go into Murder, and then we'll go for Deadly Onslaught after. And then we'll have to be careful with the remaining points as we are running out. By the looks of it, we won't be able to get anything here. But that's okay. It's not like we really need anything. I mean, a Lightning Strike does kind of feel appropriate for Skulltaker. You know, Lightning Strike through the enemy armies just to kill their champion. But anyway. Blood Reaper Brass Tide. What do we got for you, buddy? Brass Collar. Gonna be a while until we get Mentor. I'm gonna say Slaughter for that physical resistance and to Maim afterwards. And then what about you, Warfriend? We have Cleave, so I guess we're gonna go for Cleave and then Slaughter similarly after. Next up, we've got Skyluck, who is gonna go into Kill and then into Slaughter for that physical resistance. He's a big old target, so we'll want the physical resistance and the HP dialed up as much as possible. Liable to take a lot of range damage when we fight whoever. He's not gonna stay in this army, keep in mind he's gonna go elsewhere. Which we're working on. Okay, so you're still recruiting and you're fine as you are. Skainorath the Murderer. I really want those Gorby's chariots and knights. Alright, I guess we're gonna start on the Jugger plant, which will give us knights to go with our Chaos Warriors, and what else did I want to build here? Oh right, we should build a Skull Reaper building immediately. Get Skull Reapers up and running temporarily for Halfdeer, but then when he switches out to all ranged army, which we can't do yet because we need the tier 4 hunting fields building for Soul Grinders. So for now, he can use the Skull Reapers and level up and stuff, and then we'll transfer them to another guy. Also, let me just see here. Lords, I want to see those Hero or Chaos Lords, rather. These guys haven't been milled for ages, and I really want a better trait with one. Another Murderer. Alright, that's fine. And actually, I just want to briefly check. Skainorath the Murderer. So you have Exalted Kin, you buff Bloodletters and Blood Crushers, so really the only reason to have a Herald as opposed to a Blood Speaker is to level 1 up, at least for us. I guess the one good thing, or one of the things that is good about the Heralds, is they have the Harvest of Skulls trait, which gives them -5 upkeep for Lord's Army. In combination with Sustained by Slaughter, Renowned, and Feared, we could make really cheap armies with them. Potentially, which, you know, in the early game, not a bad idea. Anyway, here what we'll want to do, I think, we'll want to pop you into ambush. Oh, can barely move. Alright, fine. Go into ambush. I want to see if we can get this army to try to move towards us. They can't reach us here, but seeing only a damaged army of ours, they might be willing. Who knows? Let's do this. See if they'll come on up. Alright, next up you two. You need to join Halfdeer, but Halfdeer needs to go after the High Sentinel, and presumably we'll be able to auto-resolve. Oh, you know what we could do here? We could raise another Blood Host and then send 2 up to Pahuax, while Halfdeer loops back around to the Isle of the Crimson Skull. Though I suppose we could do the same thing by looping southward through the Shrine of Sotek. Oh. Tier 3, eh? Probably worth a decent amount of cash. 7,000 sack value ain't too bad. Well, either way, we're going to go for Skull Throne. We're going to activate the next Blood Host. We'll have 2 additional units. Like so. Then we will hit this without this army, because I don't want it to take damage unnecessarily. And we'll resolve this. Take a little bit of damage, but actually not even that much. And we will... Damn, 3.8 skulls. That's worth more than the money, I think. I wanted to raise the new Blood Host here, but I think I'd rather have the skulls. We'll do the other thing later. So skulls for the Skull Throne. Always tempted by skulls, and I assume that you have an Agent of Blood, but I want to double check. Yes, you do. What ancillary are you missing? Firestarter, you don't raid. Let's get you the Khorne Familiar, and that's pretty much it. Okay. Go this way. Oh, would you be able to take Pahuax with a single... I mean, your army's fairly decent. The problem is the pile of Flushhounds that you're kind of reliant upon. Yeah, we could win this. I wonder if it feels like it's not worth fighting because it's just a small battle, but... Oh! He's got a full stack here as well. Well, isn't that lovely for him? I wonder where he'll go.
Rest is a trial of its own.
Alright, you're gonna go here, and we need to put the heroes in here, so we're gonna get rid of the bloodletters mostly because...
Blood is truth.
Oh, you know what, we can get rid of one bloodletter and one chaos warhound.
Are you worthy?
The warhounds aren't going to be useful in attacking walls after all. And then Tamar and you are going to go in here. Blazer, you're needed mostly to act as a blood throne, so you're going to go here. Nice. Alright, next up we have no additional capacities, but I just want to take a quick look at what we have. Iron skin, nice. In terms of their traits, okay, nothing critical. As in, nobody needs to be deleted so that we can get a better trait. You, my friend, are gonna go right... You know what, stay right here. You're in range of the Fuming Serpent. And we know that there's a full stack here in the Blood Swamps, which is why we haven't just attacked. Scout, you are going to find a Scarbrand, and we'll continue traveling down there. Somebody asked rather in the comments of the previous episode whether we'd be doing some cults, and yeah, well, this guy is he's our only cultist, so the only one who can generate cults. But the key thing right now is to find Scarbrand, and then we'll deal with the cult stuff after. In fact, 2 turns until we at least identify Skullbrand, and then we'll make some cults all the way through the Empire while we travel onwards towards Arbol. Hopefully he'll survive that long. We kind of don't have an easy way or a quick way to get up to him, unfortunately. But what can you do? Alright, Skinarath. I'd like you to get 2 Chaos Warriors of Khorne with halberds now. Valnir. You're still recruiting, and we're not going to use Global because it's a little bit too expensive. And I forget, Bone Legion. Okay, you have 2 more turns until you start suffering attrition, so we got to get you going. Slaneshi giggle. Next up, Chuckwell. Let's upgrade that Cultist Enclave with wood because it'll give us construction cost reductions. Chuckwell, it's also critical that we get this frickin' Khornate Calefactor up and running. And I guess we'll need another Khornate Calefactor here as well, as soon... Okay, we have the trophy chamber, right? Yeah. And the Calefactor is the most important thing, because it gives us additional Blood Reaper capacity. And frankly, using Blood Reapers everywhere as opposed to Blood Shrines is just going to be the better option, because they provide other benefits. Mosquito Swamps, you're up next. Ashlodal, let's get that trophy chamber up. Creeping Jungle, Temple of Kara, let's get your port up and running, and since you have a port, you're probably going to be the better choice in terms of upgrades than the Monument of Itzatal. I think there was another place where we had one demonic building and like all other mortal buildings. It's not like it matters all that much, it's just it bothers me. Well, wherever it is, I lost it. Whatever. You, Altar of the Horned Rat, let's get you up and running. Dimensional Breach, I guess. And Marks of the Old Ones, let's get one of those trophy racks. Lovely. Alright, nearly there. The war continues. Siege equipment. Alright, I guess we're going to fight this one. It's going to be a minor battle. Frankly, we're going to take sufficient damage that we could freely auto-resolve, and it probably won't make much of a difference casualty-wise. But you know what? It's nice to see fights. I like seeing fights. So we're going to fight. Go.
Hunter of souls, Lord Ruiner, Lord God.
Alrighty, and out from the jungles come a massive pile of bloodletters. Probably not something super common and lustrous, so the defenders must be surprised to see the demons and not the lizards. Anyway, here we go. Gonna be a rather small battle, I'm sure, due to the relatively small size of the garrison. However, we gotta remember that the walls and the towers are a strength multiplier, so even if the enemy army is slightly smaller than ours, they still have potential. We're gonna start the battle off with our Bloodthirster heading up above and getting ready to knock as many of those Jade Warriors off of the walls as it can. The kill counts don't really matter nearly as much as using its mass to knock those warriors off. Out here, we've also sent both of our units of Furies to envelop and obliterate a unit of Peasant Archers, followed by the unit of Jade Warrior Crossbows in a second. This is all, of course, merely a distraction, however, as the archers are not firing, and thus our Bloodletters are starting to clamber up those ladders and get at those Jade Warriors up here, who the Furies would be too weak to take on themselves. They really need to have faction-specific ladders. Why are we using Imperial ladders on Bloodletters? I know some people don't like the idea of the ladders in the first place, like the unit's not carrying them into the battle and whatever. Just ignoring that, I still think we should at least have some. Just make it a big old ladder made of skulls. That's it, skulls and bones. It feels like it shouldn't be that hard. But anyway, I digress. The Bloodletters are, well, they're starting to overwhelm the defenders already. There's a fair few number of them up here and up here as well. We are, however, having a rather tough time getting through that gate. You see it's at 12,000 HP and fully maxed out because the enemy kept on opening it up. Every time we tried to get all of these units to go for the gate, the enemy would go right here, open it, and our units would stop attacking. I do believe there's another unit of range out here who were attempting to move in support, but once again, the Furies are proving their worth, surrounding and obliterating the unit of Jade Warrior Crossbows, such that they cannot fire on the Bloodletters up on the walls. A few of the Furies will be lost, but really not that many. I think we got 3 to 4 or 5, whatever, losses on each unit. Certainly worth killing off 3 enemy range units in total. And the battle, by the looks of it, will be decided up on the walls as the Bloodletters face off against the Jade Warriors there. And you know, I gotta say, another reason I really like the fighting in Lustria specifically for the Khorne faction is we had this sort of red versus blue thing against the Skinks and the Saurus, and now we're fighting red versus green. I like the easily pick-outable color schemes we got here. It makes the battles look nice and cinematic rather than when the units all sort of look alike. I know I mentioned it before, but I think it warrants another mention. Anyway, one of the units of Furies have come back as one of the units of Jade Warrior Crossbows has rallied, but rallied into their own doom as they get torn apart by the Talons or claws, whatever Furies have. Out here, one of our units of Bloodletters got off the walls and are facing off, or at least distracting, a unit of Peasants, but the gate has finally been broken through and our Chaos spawn, together with those Flesh Hounds, are now smashing into the back line of those poor Peasant Spears. They ain't gonna be up that long. Frankly, they would have been torn apart by the Bloodletters anyway, even without all of the Flesh Hounds and stuff hitting them in the back. In fact, how are they doing here? They're down to about half of their HP, while the Bloodletters have lost 10 units and about a quarter of theirs. That considering they are tired from climbing. Though I do still think it's a little bit odd that a demon would get tired at all. It's not a physically, whatever. But I guess we can't give them all perfect vigor, as it would be just too much. At the very least, they should ignore like climbing stuff. I can understand them fighting for a long time and then taking wounds, and then by virtue of being wounded, that causes them debilitation, as it becomes harder and harder to sort of hold on to their tether to the material realm, as opposed to returning to the realm of souls. But just climbing a ladder? I don't think so, game. I don't think so. Anyway, we are through the gate. The massive pile of units has entered the city, and the defenders have seen their hopes dashed before them and will shatter, giving the battle and the settlement to us. Alright, well that actually preserved a lot more units than I was originally expecting it to. Plus, the nice thing about having these blood hosts is that you don't care about casualties, so that you're free to sort of be very risky with their units at you know, like storm the walls and that sort of thing, because who cares if they all die? I really like the aspect of the Blood Hosts because of that. A little bit more fun in the battles. We are going to... Damn, I wish I remembered if it was tier 3. I think we're going to occupy it because it's the only settlement in this province, unless I'm mistaken, that we have. Right? Yeah. So we need it anyway. Plus, the faster that we get the cultist camp up and running, the better, I guess. Alright, well done to the Doom Reavers, and Halfday will move towards the Isle of the Crimson Skull, which is going to be a lot better defended. But he has better troops, minus the lack of the Bloodthirster, though, so there is that to consider. Anyway, is the Isle of the Crimson Skull part of a province we already own? Ooh, I noticed that we have the iron in the High Sentinel, meaning we should probably swap you to this thing. But I guess we'll do that when we, later, if I remember to do it. Anyway. Anything else? So the Bone Legion is fine. Halfday doesn't need to level this turn. We can level him after. Cloak of Skulls, 171. So we're gonna keep on waiting until we get this. We got, what, 4 turns to do it? 5 turns to do it. So we're nearly there. Ooh, new Unholy Manifestation. Character experience gain plus 300%. Once he's full HP, what we could potentially do is pop that, and I wonder if this army is still there. Pop that, and at the same time try to do his quest for the Slayer Sword there. I don't know what's coming in as a reinforcement. The big issue would be if it's a bunch of air units, because we have no real way to defend ourselves, and that is the case. But nonetheless, it would be pretty fun to take good advantage of it. Anyway, the rest of this I believe is good. We're still working on that Raging Denial in order to get the Exalted Bloodletters rather than regular Bloodletters and Blood Hosts, as it is a very significant faction-wide power-up, essentially. Wonder when that Dusk, whatever they were called, Citadel of Dusk faction is gonna die. Oh, hopefully these guys don't confederate Clan Spittle next turn. Clan Spittle, you want military alliance? No, there's a reason why we just canceled our stuff with you. It's because you're gonna die. Alright, okay, so they've moved here and they have another army there, meaning they are in range of a Schlodel, which I don't particularly like. But perhaps, should we attack? Wait, I don't even know if we can attack. Okay, you would have to take the Fuming Serpent. You are out of range of Morphin. Wait, can we even attack them? Wait, let me just see here. Declare war. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that, like, you need to wait 10 turns thing after canceling a vassal agreement. Because I guess we didn't sign the vassal agreement recently, but we just cancel it, so I'm not sure. Anyway, Nemesis Crown in the Empire. Well, too far from us, and hey, you did move up. The ambush did sort of succeed, and I assume you're also moving towards us, or at least you're trying to. Hopefully you're going... I really can't tell which way this guy's going. It'd be really annoying if he tries to go around like this, but whatever. Ooh, hello, more lizards up here and a full stack of that. Hey, you, my friend, are gonna go to Shrine of Sotek next, and we'll ignore these lizards for now. Frankly, the lizards should be, I was about to say, should be happy about us killing the Jade Court, but surprisingly they're not. They just hate chaos that much, I guess. Anyway, you... Okay, you know what? Go right here into an ambush. I'm gonna hope that they try to go for Spectazuma and not the floating pyramid. A little bit unfortunate to waste a turn like this, but who knows. Next up, you're going to... Passive ability, Gruesome Display. That's not bad. Pilgrimage of Skulls, Unbreakable in Area. Huh. That's kind of interesting, particularly for demonic units, but I think we gotta go for Ardent Pilgrimage first for the campaign movement range, just because we need to chase the enemy down, and additionally increase our mobility as well. If only we could have reached him in one turn. Too bad we didn't have that Unholy Manifestation thing. Next up, you two. This might be sort of your death march as you attempt to destroy this army, but well, you don't have enough units to actually do anything with it. But let's see what else we have. First of all, Scout. Scarby. Are we near enough to find you, buddy?
Not yet.
Try to set up a culted Sartosa. Alright, come on, come on. Are we near enough to Scarbrand's Coast? Faction encounter? No. Damn. One more turn, one more turn. Skinnerath and... Okay, you two are probably gonna recruit, but I might have gone a little bit overboard since it's starting to be a little bit expensive now. But you have to stay here, because in a couple of turns you'll be able to get knights and other stuff. Valmir, I would like you to transfer these blood shrines to Halfdeer, at least temporarily, so we could potentially move you up here. Actually, you know what? That depends on what happens with this guy, so I think we'll fight first. Alright, well, I guess we're fighting. It's a fighting kind of campaign after all. Now, which army wants to attack first? I guess it'll be this one, since we want the skull cannons firing. Go here. Come as a reinforcement, and then you attack this. Huh? Is it me, or should there be an arrow from this guy? Are you not reinforcing us? Can blood hosts? Wait, I didn't see the ambush. Yeah, okay. I got worried that the blood hosts would refuse to sort of reinforce each other. Alright, there's a lot of peasant archers, which is a concern. The real concern is how we're going to get through the armor of all those Jade Warriors. It's going to be up to the Skull Cannons to do it mostly. And of course the Bloodletters, but they are going to be vulnerable to the Peasant Archer fire, so we'll have to have the Furies and the Flesh Hounds distract. That's the plan anyway. We're severely damaged, but nice to say we have we got a solid chance. Oh, we got max mana as well. Fortunately, you have no damaging spells, just Storm of Shadows spam. Alright. Alrighty, here we go. This is going to be a pretty important battle, I'd wager. The two blood hosts are heavily damaged, both of them. And it remains to be seen whether we can pull this off. However, the importance of the battle is such that if we fail here, we're going to have to lose a settlement and move a bunch of army, well, move more blood hosts or move Halfdeer down here rather than northwards, so, yeah. It'll decide our strategy on the map and sort of metagame strategy as we go on. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off up on the hill, allowing the enemies to come to us while we bombard the enemy a little bit with those skull cannons. Unfortunately, skull cannons, at least the regular variant of skull cannons, are rather poor at firing at long distances. They're one of those units that are better the closer they get to the enemy, so their accuracy really leaving something to be desired here, barely landing any shots. I think perhaps what I should have done instead is target the dragon-blooded Shugengan Lord, rather than bothering at these, but I figured that at least, you know, clip a few units and the sort of fire left behind would burninate them, but that accuracy though. Alright, come on, get at least a few. There we go, finally managing to hit one at least. And yeah, look at those Jade Warriors burn. Alright, another whiff, but that's alright. We are at least going to be out of ammunition by the time the enemy gets to us, which is still nice, even if it's a relatively minimal amount of damage. I wonder if these guys get an accuracy buff due to veterancy. Just out of curiosity, because accuracy is a hidden trait, right? So we don't know whether they become more accurate or not. But I guess we'll see how they perform against infantry in the late game. I'm sure we'll be using plenty of skull cannons of our own. The heck was that even aimed at? But anyway, nearly out of ammunition and now reinforcements have arrived, so we're going to speed this up while we allow the enemy to close the distance. These two tried to move into combat automatically as soon as they ran out of ammunition, but that's just fine. We will wait up on the hill, force the enemy to climb and waste their time, and then charge on down. Looking like it'll be a great fight, and once again, fighting under the red Khorne skies got a sort of buoyed the spirits, if that even makes any sense, for our Khorne troops. The Bloodletters at least feel right at home, and as if they were in the realm of Khorne, the constant fighting, the blood-red skies, etc. Just need a few more rivers of blood and massive skull piles. Just replace those ziggurats with skull piles and we'll be good to go. Anyway, we're getting ready to engage in combat now. Our Bloodletters charge down that hill, engaging the enemy melee troops. This means the enemy troops are melee, are not protecting their massive pile of peasant archers, and the Furies may be fragile, but they can take care with those peasant archers without too many problems. And even if they run into an issue, we do have the Flesh Hounds getting ready to bring up the rear and help out. First of all, they will of course knock out the peasant forces before moving in to help, but it looks like the balance of power is already shifting in our favor. The enemy army is in the process of getting enveloped, and we are going to send our Bloodthirster to chase after the enemy dragon-blooded Shugengan. Are you just going to run, or are you going to try to fight? Leaving those peasants to die while the dragon-blooded flees. Alright. Well, I mean, it is a Bloodthirster after all. It's got to be a pretty scary sight. It does look like this is a nice little formation from the Jade Warriors here. And they are still going to get surrounded, however, as all of their peasant bows have at this point collapsed and their main line is in the process of doing the same. Of course, we are taking some damage, but really not too bad. The enemy got barely any mileage out of their range units, and that was really going to be the thing that was going to decide this battle. Because the Jade Warriors are functioning similar to Dwarf Warriors, and they would have held the line and continue to hold the line for a fairly long time due to their nice stats and heavy armor, for their cost especially, but it was up to the peasant units to do the actual damage to our fragile Bloodletters. Unfortunately, the enemy will fail at it, and the two Blood Hosts, damaged though they were, will succeed. Lovely. Chase them down, as the enemy will survive, but we'll do the chase off screen. Alright, that went, well, that went pretty darn well. We got about 2,000 skulls for our trouble as well, which is just fine, since we'll be wanting to colonize a few settlements as well, so, yeah. Could use a little bit more in the way of cash, but we'll take the skulls for now. And this army is more or less destroyed, which means we're free to pursue these guys down to the Blood Hall and the Pillars of the Unseen Constellations. Khorne Mutant. We've been putting these on heroes because it's a waste to take up a slot for lords, so we'll keep them on heroes. You two should still be able to chase. Wait, okay, you're suffering attrition? But you can't reach this guy anyway. Well, that's a shame. You cannot go into raiding either, so I guess we'll just use you to reinforce, and we'll have this Blood Host kill you. On resolve, hopefully it doesn't kill off too many of our own troops. It better not be more than... okay, just one. I was about to say, it better not be more than we lost during the actual fight. That always hurts. And ooh, Warrior Bane, that's nice. That's real nice. If we're gonna put you on the Blood Shrine. Alright, we have another war... yeah, you know what, let's give it to, since we're likely, let's say, to fight the... quest battle. And do that. Alright, then... alright, let's see if I got this right. Cloak of Skulls, we're nearly there. 17, nothing there. I'm just trying to do a quick count. 17 as well. Nah, we should rack up the... wait, how many turns? 4 turns. Can we get 104 turns? Depends. Really depends. This Blood Host is nearly spent. Very heavily damaged now. Are you able to take Tlax? Close to feed. Okay, we're gonna have to fight that one. I guess we'll auto-resolve the fight with Skulltaker, because we'll be fighting many rats shortly anyway. And... alright, we're gonna declare war on you. Sorry, Clan Spittle. You were so nice to become our vassal, but if they hadn't lost Star Tower, I would have allowed them to be our vassal, because then we could have used some of their troops. But since they lost Star Tower, they're going to take like 100 turns to tech up to the units that we might potentially want from them, and so the entire continent will be Khorne instead. Declare... oh! They're fighting Clan Pestle. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Join war against Clan Spittle. For money. Not a lot of money, but bro, we're going to attack Spittle anyway. Go figure. Alright, then we're going to pop that Unholy Manifestation. For 3 turns, character experience gain on Skulltaker. Perform. Alright, and we still have that Blood X Nihilo. The next Blood Host summoned will have 2 additional units. Wait, why is it... blood is English, right? Ex nihilo is Latin, so it's blood from nothing, but shouldn't it be... What's blood in Latin? Like, blood angels, sanguineous, sanguis ex nihilo. That's what it should be, right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Go. Morphin rot.
No, you failed.
Not so mighty. Resolve is gonna hurt a little bit, but it's actually not even gonna hurt that much. Barely any skulls, so we'll take the replenishment because we're about to land and fight again. Alright, like so. And how's our skull cloak looking? We are at 209. I mean, we will be able to get 200 by the time we get there. It's risky. 4 turns. But you gotta risky to get the bisky, so let us do this. All other lords gain 5% of the experience of the defeated lord. I just want to see what the other stuff is. 250 skulls and coordinate corruption after defeating lord. You know what? That's actually... If we're about to start fighting these Skaven, there's not a lot of corruption in their territories. Is it any lord? Wait, let me just cloak of skulls. Defeating lord. Is that better than the 5%? Depending. I wonder what the experience of the lord of the quest is going to be like. Nah, it's still probably good. Let's do this. Empower. Alright. Okay, now definitely we're gonna go for Mire the Indomitable. Just gotta make sure we get that hundo. You jump on in.
Celebrate this day.
And auto-resolve this. And we will... Here we will raise a blood host. Yeah. And some. Alright, ooh, Trickster's Helm, very, very nice. That'll be better than the Armor of Fortune. Beautiful. Gonna need it for that quest battle, as you charge on in like a complete maniac, which is appropriate for Khornates. Then you... damn, I was hoping that would have given us enough range to get into a Schlodel, but it gets us close to it. Alright. How many flesh hounds while we have that bug up and running? Normally I love flesh hounds, they're great, but while we have the bug, it's not as good. Alright, then the Bone Legion. Go to the Fuming Serpent, please. We got 3 turns to do that quest while that Unholy Manifestation is up and running. And... we can auto-resolve, but it'll probably hurt our units. Might have to do a little bit of a fight here. Might want to preserve these guys since we're going to be attacking the these Skaven, hopefully in many locations at once, all at once. So we'll wait on that a second. We'll hold off on the recruitment for now. Ooh, somebody else still needed to move. Wasn't one of you? Oh, right, it was you. Still need to do this fight to knock these guys out because, well, we're heavily damaged and it's necessary. We have this province, right? So we're free to raise it or sack it or whatever. Yeah. Yep. Alright, I certainly hope we can slay for Khorne here, but I'm sure Khorne will be happy regardless of whether we fail or not, as long as there are many casualties. We are at like 15% of our HP on our entire main line. All of our bloodletters are severely damaged as this blood host has been around, sort of running around and taking attrition for a long time. Even our Herald of Khorne is down to 30% of its HP, everybody else is at 50%. The enemy army is a nice, decently balanced full stack. They lack monsters though, so they're going to have a little bit of a tough time with our blood shrines, which are probably going to be the important thing to keep alive in terms of winning this battle, especially while Splash, that's not the same thing. This isn't a Slaanesh campaign. Oh man. Excited to see what the Slaanesh reworks will look like, or like the additional stuff. I mean, we got the Tzeentch new stuff, we got the Coronate stuff, we got the Nurglite stuff, and now only Slaanesh remains. They can't just leave Slaanesh without new stuff, right? Right? Devs, please. Anyway, here we go. The battle is about to begin. Enemy makes a fairly smart move here. We were charging the enemy single artillery piece of their mortars with our units of flesh-hounds, and the enemy will actually send its dire bats, or fell bats rather, dire wolves, fell bats, to block the flesh-hounds off. And the fell bats, having very high melee defense, will probably be able to hold them for a decent amount of time. Our own flyers, however, which were originally going to go for the bats, are then going to switch and target the enemy handgunners wherever they can, just to stop them from firing. The handgunners are the biggest threat here because they can kill off our blood shrines, which otherwise the enemy sort of lackluster infantry are going to have a tough time against. Our unit of blood crushers rather will charge in, doing a little bit of damage to the zombie pirate gunnery mob here, but obviously not as much as they would if the sort of splash damage issue wasn't causing us problems. But all good, they will just have to kill those zombies one by one. Frankly, if this makes the battles a little bit more difficult, that's not necessarily such a bad thing. Anyway, Chaos Spawn working together with the very limited numbers of bloodletters to hack apart those zombies everywhere we can. That said, the bloodletters are suffering quite a bit. They started with barely any HP, and many of them are in the process of melting away. Just gotta try to reap as many skulls as they can before they return to the realm of souls. And hopefully Khorne's favor. Alright, a little bit of a bat on Fury action up in the sky. Our Furies are getting ready to melt away, but so are the bats at the same time. Two sort of factions that like to disintegrate when their morale hits, or leadership hits a sufficiently low point, which is always kind of interesting. Alright, Spin to Win. Spin to Win is the name of the game, as this battle will once again likely be decided by the blood shrines. While the bloodletters are starting to really melt away all over the place and few are now remaining, the blood shrines continue to hold and continue to do damage. Out here our single, the Raging Beasts, our single Herald of Khorne, together with that blood shrine, is holding off a bunch of zombies. Very nice, very nice. And somebody suggested we maybe take Skulltaker off the mount on occasion, just to get him his, just to be able to watch his animations a little bit. And please remind me, because I'll probably do that a couple times, for a couple battles at least. Although specifically against the Vampire Coast, it was valuable to have him on his mount to be able to quickly take care of the bloated corpses. All right. How are we doing here? The balance of power 4 minutes in remains at 50-50. It's close. Most of our bloodletters are destroyed. Our Chaos Spawn are in bad shape as well. I think all but one of our units, and very heavily damaged at that, of Fleshhounds have melted away as well. But the blood shrines are still spinning, and as long as they're spinning, they're still winning. The blood crushers are also down to about half of the HP they started with, about 30% of their total, and we do have to be wary as the gunnery wight and the enemy lord, the vampire fleet admiral, are still firing away at our sort of, not single entities, but small entity units. Well, not small entity, you know what I mean. The blood crushers and the chaos spawn and the like. Alright, it looks like the right flank is ready to collapse. We're down to 4 from the 7 of the chaos spawn. The fleshhounds are exhausted, down to 3 units, and by the looks of it, ready to melt. It looks like the blood crushers are down to 20% of their HP. The last unit of bloodletters still in the fight, though by the looks of it, not for much longer. But at the same time, neither are these zombies looking like they'll be in the fight for much longer either. The right flank, having collapsed at last, we're actually going to move away from it while sending our very severely damaged Herald after that gunnery wight. Got to stop him firing. Look at him run away slowly. There's a very funny way to say, oh no, oh no, uh-oh, uh-oh. Because he's not like actually booking it on out of there, but, you know, undead unit, I know. Alright, well, let's see. Well, he's not even trying to fight in melee, he's just trying to escape, which works really in our favor because of the severe damage on the Herald. Fortunately, while the enemy ran, we were able to get him down to about half HP, knock him about a little bit with our Blood Shrine, but at the same time get it to provide its leadership and just aura buffs. The Totem of Endless Bloodletting to our Lord. Our Blood Crusher is now down to 11. Even one of our Blood Shrines is nearly destroyed by the Bloodletters, or the very few remnants of Bloodletters and Blood Crushers surround the enemy Admiral in a desperate bid to knock the last remaining threat down. The zombies are nearly out. The Gunnery White will probably take a couple more hits, but is getting ready to melt away as well. Will whiff on its attack on the Herald, and will begin to melt. Down he goes. Could have at least a sort of angry like roar or spit upon the enemy's corpse from the Herald as he died, not letting the Herald get the kill. It looks like the battle is ours. It was 50-50 for the longest time, but the last few units do manage to make it a Pyrrhic victory, and one of the most fun fights of the campaign. A tiny army with severely damaged units. Really enjoying using these blood hosts, I gotta say. Oh, there we go. That was so damn close. Demons Reforge GA. But this Blood Host really paid for itself, didn't it? That was pretty darn fantastic. Down to the wire, 26 of our units out of 262, less than 10% of our army remaining. And really could have gone either way at the end there. We went in heavily damaged. The auto-resolve said it would be a close defeat or whatever it was. I love it. I love everything about it. Well done to whatever you're... Oh, you don't have a name, just says the Raging Beasts? I feel like you earned something, but maybe we should name one of our... If we make like a Bloodletter Lord something, the Raging Beasts, to commemorate these guys' efforts. But anyway, you can... Attack is decent. Oh, but will we be able to move to get it back? That's a question. Or we could just skull it up for a little bit of money and a decent bit of skulls. I think it's safer to skull it up. Skull it up, go. And it'll recolonize itself. There's another Agent of Blood and the Raging Beasts. I think you've done your duty, so you're done. The Awakened destroyed with that as well. Fare thee well, Blood Host. Alright. Lovely. And these three will hopefully get cornified soon. They're all in our territory. 13%. That's... Oh, we need the... I think we need the corruption to rise for that to happen. We should also fight this. I'm now blanking on where we still need to fight. Not here. Alright, the recruiter guys. I mean, if we make a decent bit of additional cash, we should be able to build and/or some stuff. I wonder how much this is worth. It's tier 2 being upgraded to tier 3. Well, either way, I think we do have to fight this in order to preserve this unit, or preserve this army in order to send it southward towards the Clan Pestilence. They do have Howling Warp Gale, which will be annoying for our aerial units, and Warp Lightning, which will be annoying for all of our units. Go.
Slaughter, raid, slay, eviscerate, glory.
Alright, here we go. It wouldn't be the Lustria Bowl without destroying copious amounts of Skaven, and a precursor to fighting Clan Pestilence will be our former vassal, Clan Spittle. We will go after this little army, and I think we'll be just fine here, but the idea, or the main point, is to try to preserve our units. Anyway, rather than wasting our inaccurate skull cannon shots on the enemy troops, we're gonna go close to the enemy army as possible without suffering damage from the from our enemy range fire in return, and will instead fire the skulls upon the enemy lord, who at this distance will be taking decent amounts of damage, having lost nearly half of its HP already. I want to get that warp lightning off the field as soon as possible, so the extra fire from the skull cannon will hopefully come in handy. Alright, another shot, but this one actually whips and smashes into the enemy clan rats, which, by the looks of it, and pretty darn well, so that's alright. It looks like the enemy will attempt to summon some clan rats in the midst of a pile of chaos spawn and bloodletters. The poor menace below clan rats are always mistreated, but this is something else. This is exactly what the Khorne army wants. Spawn right in the midst of them, please. Anyway, our skull cannon continues riding around, annoying the enemy as best it can, but it looks like it's annoyed the enemy sufficiently to the point that the enemy army will move towards us. And that's just fine by us. We'll move towards them ourselves. The Bloodletters, the Blood Shrine, and the Chaos Spawn will charge forth. They will finally get hit with that Warp Lightning, which we've been attempting to avoid for this entire campaign, or for this entire battle. But that's alright. A single use so far, and hopefully we can knock out the enemy lord before it gets too many. Another shot from the skull cannon. This one whips, unfortunately, and it does look like Howling Warp Gale is now active from the enemy Grey Seer. That said, the clan rats are having a pretty darn bad day. They are fighting an entire army of fear-causing units after all, and clan rats and Skaven slaves don't have particularly good leadership or psychology resistance anyway. And the battle shifts rapidly to about 90% in our favor. Our lord has found the enemy lord as well, and by the looks of it, no more warp lightning is to be feared. A couple more hits. I like that sort of combo attack he did, but it kind of stopped you in your tracks. 37 HP on the enemy lord, but does scurry away make you fast enough to run away? 42 versus 46 speed. Come on, come on. Get him. The charge activates, slightly faster movement speed on the Herald. One more swing, and the rat will lose its life. Would have been nice if you had done that on... What are you swinging at, man? You had him. You had him. Try again, please. Alright, let's see it again. I keep wanting to see whether these guys have a special animation for enemy infantry lords. Okay, that one got him, and he loses his head. Alright, I was thinking it might have been a wound to the back, but that's what you want. That's what you want. I love it. Without the battle's hours, we will not need to chase the enemy down. Alright, very nice. Preserved most of our units there. Got a decent little bit of cash for our trouble, though all of this seems not crazy worth it. I'm almost tempted to just straight up occupy it. However, it was a tier 2, meaning we would take it a tier 1 anyway, so it doesn't really serve any real purpose. 2.6k money or 1,400 skulls. Our skulls are kind of in a good place right now. I think we'll sack for the cash. And then we'll occupy it afterwards. I mean, I guess we could wait the turn and then attack them again and then raise it, but frankly, it's just faster to do it this way. There we go. All right. I wanted the money more than the skulls. You can... whatever, we can switch you off later. All right. Next... Okay, the recruitment may or may not have to wait, depending. Skulltaker, I forgot why I stopped you in your tracks. You have movement remaining. You just reached this guy. Wait. Huh. Weren't you at the edge of your movement? Did something? Okay, wait. You are... Oh. The faction is destroyed, isn't it? Funnily enough, we're very close to being able to reach this guy. Oh, look at those warp fire throwers. Unlike Clan Spittle, these guys will actually be worthy of our attentions. Kill Hellkeek, which puts us up to... and resolve. little bit of skulls, and keep the skulls. We just used a bunch to do stuff. And still just out of range of these things. Alright, fine. You're gonna proceed close to Quetzal and then attack it next turn. And probably do the quest as well. Still no Exalted Bloodletters, but, well, we're working on it. We're working on it. Faction destroyed. We get another Blood Host up and running. And when can we activate the next Blood Host? Power 10 turns. But I guess what we could do next turn is power up Dissipation's Domain. More chances to get new stuff going. And I take it we'll need to... Well, actually, we won't. I was about to say we'd need to occupy this, but we will not. Okay, let's do the recruitment. Let's do the recruitment. Alright. Or not recruitment, the building. Brigun. Do we upgrade you right now, or do we prioritize going for tier 3 here or tier 3 here? Both of which are quite nice for us. Whereas this only gives us port. I think we'll wait. Quitash, we will upgrade you, however, into a Dimensional Rift. Mosquito Swamps, Shlanopek. Yeah, we gotta keep upgrading you, but once again, I think we gotta prioritize the Cultist Outpost Wood because we got that construction cost reduction, so yeah. Alright. Infernal Citadel it is. Creeping Jungle, Spectazuma. Gotta get that additional hero recruit rank, and I guess we gotta keep going for those trophy racks. Need them to fund all of our stuff. Fund the fun. And Dimensional Breach here as well. A River Curveza eats a yes to the gold, and... Why must all the landmarks be at tier 4? I guess once again we're gonna go for the trophy racks. And Piranha Swamps are the only one that we're waiting on, because we need to prioritize the upgrade here. For the construction cost reduction. Next turn, we will have Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons available. Lovely, lovely, for our Chaos Warrior army. And... 2 more turns until Gore Beasts and Chaos Knights, and 2 more turns until whatever this thing does. Oh, Skull Reapers, and to some degree Chosen. We have dual weapon Chosen, right? Wrathmongers, Chosen of Khorne, dual weapons. Yeah, they're tier 4, but we'll get there. Alright. Alright, I believe that's the end of the turn, unless I'm mistaken. Minus the potential for recruitment, but at minus 2k per turn, it's a little bit steep. On the other hand, the stuff that takes 2 turns, like the Chaos Spawn, which we'll want to throw in with some of the Forsaken, maybe we could start on that. Why not? Start on it. Start on it. And anything take 2 turns here? No, but you're waiting for Chaos Knights and Gore Beasts and dual weapons, so you're gonna have to wait for the turn anyway. Anyway, skip. Sun and Commandment, Monuments of Rage, and Diplomacy. We're at war with only the one faction, Jade Court. Response to Leoness. I'd love to teleport to you. As soon as we're done, we've nearly dealt with Lustria, and then it'll be nice to teleport all the way over here. And meet up with Scarby. Ooh, next turn we meet Scarby. Okay, good. End turn. Let's see how he feels about Confederation. Also, we're kind of... Ah, damn, the ambush failed on the Jade Court. I guess they were going north instead of south? No, they went out to sea. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Huh, go figure. Rakarth wants military access. He does like us, but that's temporary. Too bad for him, because he's holding landmarks, and we can't be letting him have our landmarks. Alright, come on, Scout, you're so close to Scarby. Oh, I didn't even know these guys... Well, that's not good. They have a really strong stack. I didn't know that this faction still had any kind of agency. I thought that they would just... go figure. Well, they didn't move, so maybe they don't have agency. I'm not sure, but look at that. Ancient Stag, Blessed Temple Guard, Blessed Saurus Warriors, Blessed Croxies, some Blessed Pterodon Riders. It's a heck of a fight over there. Plus what they've got in their actual settlement as well. Hey, look at that. Blue Vipers are back. Rite of Awakening performed. Constructor for Half Deer. Those savages. Blue Vipers are back. Drawn to Destruction, Poxmarsh, and the Rock of Inevitability for upgrading to Tier 5. And we're nowhere near there yet. I wonder if you're close enough to Quetzal so that if we attack you, something will happen. Out of curiosity.
We barter deal. Which enemies do you want to die painfully?
Okay, yeah, no, they won't become our vassal. I was just curious. It's not like we would want to while they have some solid landmarks down there as well. And, ooh, we got more gold at Chupayodel, which is more upkeep reduction. I love that. Alright, you. Bone Legion. Move southward. Oh, right. The reason that I wanted to... Okay, just go here. I wanted to see about Scarby, so... You move here. And... Okay, it's kind of buggy. There we go. Okay, can't move any further. Next up, what do we have here? Skull Throne. I wanted to do something. I think it was going to be Dissipation's domain, because there's nothing else that we really need. Well, wait, there's cooldown, and we could use the endless fuel in order to get the growth going faster. On the other hand, we do have a lot of these things that need to auto-colonize themselves, so there's still good reason for it. But anyway, you, go find us a Scarby. Factions encountered. There we go, Exiles of Khorne. How do they feel about us? Well, they don't hate us. Go figure. Scarbrand even capable of not hate. Okay, so he's got 6 settlements and he's strength rank 47, so there's a decent likelihood that we'll be able to confederate him rather shortly. He's probably not doing as well as he might like. You? I'm gonna set up a cult right here just because we're here. Or will that kind of take us... Ooh, setting up a cult doesn't destroy this unit, does it? I genuinely don't know. Somebody please tell me. For now, I'm not going to do it, because he's already halfway, or a third of the way to Arbol, and I really don't want him to stop, so we're going to start moving up the coastline. If setting up... I assume setting up cults is just a cooldown, but if it destroys the cultist, then... Ugh. We wouldn't want to do that right now. Half-Deer Nightbane. Really wanted you to fight this guy, but because of the ambush, I guess ambush was the wrong choice. So what would you do? He'd probably march stance all the way to the Isle of the Crimson Skull. Well, neat. You two will need to hit the Pillars of the Unseen Constellations. And I guess you're gonna do it. Pyrrhic Victory, oh. You know what, I think we'll preserve these Blood Hosts. I'll do this little fight between the episodes. And just to preserve them as much as possible without auto-resolving. Half-Deer, I guess you're going to go march stance and cross to the Isle of the Crimson Skull, and then we'll see about these guys. Doom Reavers are going to hit the Shrine of Sotek. And we'll be fighting the lizards up here. And I guess I want to preserve these guys as well, so I will do this little tiny fight between the episodes as well. Just to keep it to the good fights, huh? And then Skulltaker. Do we attack these guys now? Or do we wait the turn? You have 2 turns of Slaughter Incarnates, so you should really try to use this as much as physically possible right now. Alright, fine. We're gonna go Dissipation's domain right now for that extra colonization. And as soon as the 2 turns are up, we'll pop the Endless Fuel to get that growth and general faction stuff up and running. You too, I think you gotta stop recruiting for a bit. We're getting into slightly too much cost territory. Anyway, I think, folks, with that, I'm going to call the episode here. We've already had, what, like 5 or 6 battles this episode, and we'll probably manually fight this at the start of next episode. I'm not sure that he's in range of Quetzal. It actually looks like he's not, so maybe it would be better to try to attack him. I'll think about it. The other option would be to wait the turn and then head directly towards Oishul. We do have the turn, or to do the quest battle, which we might do at the start of next episode. If we take sufficient damage in Skulltaker's army, then we'd be able to probably attack this guy without him running. So, it's probably a solid option. But we also got to think about moving back to dealing with Lord Shlot and all of this big old pile of units. Frankly, if we had teleport up and running right now, I'd send the Skulltaker over there because it's a massive amount of money. But anyway, that'll be stuff we'll deal with next time, so stay tuned for more Khorne. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to the threshold for the hour-long episodes. If you're into that sort of thing, all glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.